Excuse me. What in the world are you thinking?
Mean Gene, the first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
What up, y'all? It's KMB, the Sexy Ninja, and the place to be for a Paper Saber universe. And this is the New World Podcast, brother. And we're going to talk about NXT, October 17th, 2023. In the bag, Vic Joseph, Booker T on commentary. We started off with the Bada Bing, Bada Boom Battle Royal set up last week to see who will be the number one contenders for the Tag Team Championships and face the family next week on Halloween Havoc Night 1. And I will say, after this show, they stacked that night 1. Night 2 is I can't wait for what we do with night 2. Like, it's like night 1 is like, oh shit, and I can't wait for night 2 to be like, oh, I'll get my spooky on. Chase U for the win with a little bit of help with the Creed brothers, but they will face the family next week, and Chase University is going, oh, they excited. I'm very excited for this match. The Battle Royals are one of those things where it's either I tune in or tune out. It happens with anything on AEW, anything like that. Usually Battle Royals are just a dime a dozen. They're like, oh yeah, we got one just to settle some score or settle some of this, blah, 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 blah. But this one, what I like about the Bada Bing, Bada Boom with the tag team division is, like, if one person gets eliminated, the whole tag team is gone. And I like the fact when it gets down to the last two tag teams, it becomes a match. And that last bit, ooh, great spots, fun match. I got to say, this was one of the matches of the night. But the family and Chase U, they're going to bring that fire next week at Halloween Havoc. We have Carmelo Hayes coming to this ring, and he's about to talk and, talking about he wants to get back on top and be number one. Here comes Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin's like, hey, man, I saw you last week. You were fanning out. You were like The Undertaker, now we're John Cena pictures and this and that. Fans are in the stands, and they don't belong in the ring. And Carmelo, he's like, well, before he says anything, here comes Dijak. Dijak comes in, because remember last week, Dijak attacked Ilya Dragunov. And so this was set up from last week, a triple threat for who's going to be the number one contender for the NXT Championship at Halloween Havoc Night 2. So on Halloween night. And Ilya Dragunov sends a message. Says, hey, Cody Rhodes was our GM last week, and we made one more decision, and it's not going to be a 3-way, it's going to be a fatal 4-way, and with this man, whoop that trick, yeah, whoop that trick, Trick Williams, Trick Willie, oh, Carmelo Hayes' face was what made this moment where you're like, what, and what I really liked is when he got in the ring, Dijak and Baron Corbin playing the heel role, being like, your friend betrayed you. Look at that. Your friend, blah, blah, blah. What are you going to do, huh? And Trick's like, hey, I'm in this to win this. Me and Carmelo were cool, but are they, though? We're laying the seeds. We've been laying the seeds for the past few weeks, ever since Carmelo lost his championship to Ilya Dragunov. It's one of those things that I think this is probably one of my favorite stories right now in NXT. These two brothers, combined, Trick Mello gang and everything like that, and slowly we're unraveling it. It's going to all fall apart. And, Carmelo Hayes like, hey, doesn't matter who's here. I'm going to beat him. I'm going to get back on top. And Dijak's like, especially him, when he points that Trick, and Trick's like, oh. And then after a little bit of a brawl and fight, one moment of where Mello's about to take off his jacket and lay Trick out, and then he stops for him, and then he's like, then he's like, yeah, Trick Mello gang. I was like, more of a tease than that. More of a tease. I like it so much, man. And I was like, Ilya Dragunov, this is some good competition, and we'll go on to see who's going to win. We had the first women's breakout tournament. We're almost at the end of this thing. Carmen versus Jada Parker. Yeah, it was okay. It was okay of a match. Nothing too crazy or anything like that. Lyra Valkyria versus Tegan Nox with Natalya. Lyra Valkyria for the win. I just don't get this whole thing with Tegan. She just came out of nowhere. Xia Li just came out of nowhere. Everyone's is going after this championship, and next week we're going to have Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship. But during this match, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven came out, and it ends up in a fight afterwards. They, with Tegan and Natalya, they fight him out of the ring. But I will say, getting Chelsea chance was awesome. I was like, fuck yeah, right? Chelsea Green, yeah, she's the shit. Come on, let's make her more awesome. Like she got a big crowd reaction, and I love that for her. But they get the fight out of the ring, like cuts a promo, to saying like, hey, I wanted to be the first Irish person to go and win that championship and stuff like that, and blah, blah, blah. And then Becky comes on the screen and she says, like, yeah, you need to put your fandom aside. You need to understand and put that chip on your shoulder that got you here. I've seen you. I've been watching you, and they said her late friend sent videos of Lyra and says, this is the next big star. So this is personal. But my problem with this is this makes other matches she hands out like candy to other, superstars and stuff like that seem meaningless. And what do I mean by that? It's like when she faced Tiffany Stratton at No Mercy, she already had a match with Tegan Nox for the NXT Championship on Monday Night Raw. So it made me go like, oh, she ain't losing that championship then. Coming down to this one here, she gave Indy Hartwell a championship for Monday Night Raw as well, the night before Halloween Havoc Night 1. So that just tells me Indy's not going to win. You're trying to build this rivalry so personal between Lyra and Becky, making it personal. But how am I supposed to buy into that when she's just giving away championships like candy for this NXT championship? I get it. She's the working champion. She's, that's what she does and this and that. But that's what makes those matches like her facing Indy. Like, I don't care. And I should care because Indy Hartwell deserves better, in my opinion, on the main roster. So, and I feel like her going after the NXT championships is a little bit of a backward step for her instead of going forward to go for one of the main roster championships, in the women's division and everything like that. So that's my problem with Becky's run, is that we're trying to build this rivalry as personal. But she already has a championship match that we know is going to be against Indy Hartwell. Then I don't care about that match, but I do care about Lyra Valkyria and Becky's match. But I should care about all the matches that for anybody that gets that NXT opportunity, So, and that's just my opinion. Like, her handing out championships like candy is one of the weirdest and strangest things. Like, it's just something that it just kind of irks me here and there. I don't know if you feel like that, but it's just the way I feel. I'm glad that Becky's champion. She finally got the championship in NXT, but it's just like, storytelling wise, what are we doing? Why are you trying to make me care about Lyra versus Becky, but then you still have her have championship matches on the main roster and stuff? So that's just where I'm at with this. We have Trick and Melo backstage. Carmelo's not too happy. He's like, yo, dog, you didn't tell me? You didn't tell me at all? And everything like that. And he's like, hey, I didn't know. Well, he's like, I knew, but, I was scared to tell you. He's like, why are you scared? We could have worked out a plan and blah, blah, blah. He's like, yo, come on, dog. It's still Trick Melo gang, this and that. And Carmelo's like, all right, we got this. And we got but before I get to this, we got Metaphor backstage. And we got a great Tozawa. Tozawa's looking for Noam Dar, but this great little moment with the Metaphor, Noam Dar's on the phone, like, they're taking the leg, they're doing this, such great moments here, man. And what's it called? But after this, we have Trick. He was attacked and was sent to the hospital. Who attacked Trick Williams? I bet you a fucking dollar is Carmelo Hayes. His jealousy of his friend trying to get into the championship, getting a championship opportunity. There's going to be some footage revealed or something that's going to be like, yo, it's going to be. This is why I like this story, because if it's Trick that attacked Carmelo, that's going to fuel this rivalry more into possibly winner, when a loser leaves NXT. Then one of these go up to the main roster. But, having this feud build up, you could do it in a trilogy form too. One gets one, that's why this story is so important. Like, it's so important, especially for these two for so long have been at each other's side, the season, the rise and the downfall, and now we're slowly taking apart their brotherhood, and it's going to come down to Carmelo doing the ultimate ultimate sin and stabbing his brother in the back by not letting him have that opportunity in the number one contendership match, because that goes into a triple threat and is no longer a fatal four-way match. So I really like that. We had Shotzi and Kiana James. Okay, women's breakout tournament. Ariana Grace for the win over Brian Lee Reese. Man, these names are terrible. But let's get to the main event. Number one contendership for the NXT Championship. Carmelo Hayes versus Baron Corbin versus Dijak. You talk about starting off the show with the bada bing, bada boom, battle royale, then ending it with this, a nice sandwich of professional wrestling here. Carmelo Hayes for the win, so we're going to get the trilogy at Halloween Havoc Night 2, Carmelo versus Ilya Dragunov, and I was just like, bring it on. Either three of these individuals, but if we're going to get Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov one more time, I'm fucking for it. Like, these two have some bangers under their belts already with each other, so I'm excited, and I hope some reveal either happens next week or it happens at the end of Halloween Havoc Night 2, like just some footage of like, hey, I got like either Baron Corbin or Dijak's like, yo, you know, you want to see something, Trick? Watch this, and it shows Carmelo's the one that attacks, and that's how we end the show. And Ilya Dragunov retains that championship, because that's some good TV right there, and I'm all for it. Lyra's watching on. She has a random picture of her and Becky on the locker that she looks like she just taped up. And she just grabs it and looks at it and just, you know, it's like, I just like the random picture on the fucking locker room. Just randomly taped there. But as she's walking away, she's at the screen. It changes over to Jade Cargill. And she's pointing at her watch. Time is ticking. I think the tease with Jade on SmackDown, Raw, and NXT, I think they're playing their cards really well. They're not showing their hand just yet of what we're going to do with Jade, but it's going to be awesome. And I'm thinking, just thinking with this, her pointing at her watch, I think Becky's time is coming up. I think Jade is going to be our next NXT Women's Champion. Let her have a run here for a bit, then move her up to the main roster. It's kind of like what they did with Kevin Owens. You know, he didn't have a long run in NXT. You know, he came in, got a championship and all this and that, betrayed Sami Zayn, all this great stuff. You know, let's have Jade have a nice little tight run in NXT, then let her move on to the main roster. Lexis King. I like that name they gave him. But he's going to debut next week. Like I said, big matches next week for Halloween Havoc Night 1. Bada bing, bada boom. That's it. That's all. NXT, October 17th, 2023, in the bag. Vic Joseph, Booker T. Fun NXT for overall. But overall, I say I give this a 4 out of 5. I'm really invested in Trick and Melo's downfall. You know, the brotherhood falling apart. Bangers of the matches. My match of the night is the Bada Bing, Bada Boom Battle Royale. I was very skeptical of Chase U, but now they've grown on me. You know, I thought when I saw Thea Hale on the outside, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing with her, but okay. You know, you gave it a little bit of attitude, but yeah, whatever. All right, y'all. Halloween Havoc's around the corner. Tell me what you thought of the show. I give the show a solid 4 out of 5. You know. Tell me what you thought, what you like, what you didn't like. What do you think? Do you think that Carmelo beat down Trick just so he wouldn't have his opportunity to get a number one contendership against Ilya Dragunov? So much drama, and that's professional wrestling, folks. Oh, yeah, brother. Now, like and subscribe. Share with your grandma. Share with your grandpa. Share with the bum down at Walmart. I am KNB, the Sexy Ninja. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/New World Podcast. Get yourself that sweet NWP logo. Created by Penta X. And remember that the New World Podcast is for life, brother.
Did it all behind your back, and he never even told you about it.
Hey, you know what? Nah.